Today we're going to show you the daily maintenance that's recommended for your Lemond Revmaster. The first thing you want to do daily is to ensure that the pedals are tight in the crank arms. You're going to be needing a 15mm wrench to do that. Second thing you're going to want to do is inspect the pedals and make sure that all the screws are tight on both sides. Inspect the pedal straps to make sure they're not frayed or damaged. And it's also a good idea to wipe down your Lemond Revmaster daily. You want to use soap and water or a diluted non-abrasive cleaning solution. Another item you could use is the Sportsmith equipment wipes. And you just want to wipe the frame down daily to make sure that any sweat or anything doesn't get to set on there and start to rust the machine out or get under the paint. Make sure you wipe inside the handlebar and seat post to remove any sweat or any contaminants that might have gotten there as well. Now we're going to demonstrate the weekly recommended maintenance on your Lemond Revmaster. You want to wipe down the flywheel with some WD-40. Just apply that to a rag and put a light coat on both sides of the flywheel. Again, this is weekly. The next step is to inspect the crank bolts for looseness. The easiest way to do that is just to grab the crank arm and see if it'll move around at all. If it does, you want to inspect the torque on those. If you're having problems with the crank bolts repeatedly coming loose, it's a good idea to go ahead and remove that bolt completely and apply a couple drops of the medium Loctite to it and put it back in the machine. If you inspect your brake pad and you notice that it needs oiled, you can turn the whole bike over on the handlebars. Of course, you might have to remove the water bottle and the pilot if you have a computer on it, and set the bike over on the handlebars and the seat very carefully like we're showing you here. And then you can get a good view of what the brake pad actually looks like. If you notice that the brake pad is dry or glazed over, you can actually apply oil in this position quite easily. Some 3-in-1 oil is a good product to use. But you just want to apply some of that to the brake pad as he's doing here, and then let the bike set for several minutes. Let it soak into the brake pad. And you also want to make sure that you wipe off any excess oil before you flip the bike back over. You don't want that oil to drip down and get all over the flywheel. Okay, now we're doing our monthly maintenance for the Lemond Revmaster. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that the belt has the correct tension. The easiest way to do that is just to get on the bike and get the pedals to where they're basically parallel with the ground. And just kind of go back and forth on them to see if there's any slippage. You can also just kind of try to go forward really quickly and see if you can get the belt to slip or backward. You want the belt to basically be where it's just slipping a tiny bit or not slipping at all, but you do not want to over tighten it. You also want to inspect the belt visually to make sure the belt isn't worn. This is an example of what an old belt might look like. You're gonna see the damage on it here, fraying, such as this right here. You might also see cracks in the actual ribs of the belt. Any of these indicate that the belt needs to be replaced. And of course, if you find that you're out of tension on the tension adjustment on your bike, that is also an indicator you would want to replace it. Once a month, you're also going to want to inspect the bottom bracket for play in the spindle. The best way to check for that is to see if you have play from side to side. Just remove the belt cover and then tap lightly on the crank arm with the rubber mallet and watch and see if there's any space change between the sprocket and the frame. You can also do that on the opposite side and just watch the space behind the crank arm. If you find play in the spindle from side to side, you definitely want to readjust your bottom bracket.